Shalom, shalom. Just 1 second, I can. Just 1 second. All right, all right. First and foremost, I want to say call hello Yahweh, Hashem Yahweh Shai, Hashem Makar Kodash. I want to say double honors to the apostles, elders, bishop, great millstone. I want to send much peace, love, and salutations to you, Akim, out there pushing the word of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, still the truth. It's Brother Ariella. And on today, what I want to do, y'all let me know if you can hear me well. I want to talk about this crypto bill that the Trump administration just got passed. As you can see, the title is Path to the M.O.T.B. M.O.T.B means Mark of the Beast. For you newcomers, that's what M.O.T.B stands for. Mark of the Beast that you hear about in the book of Revelation. And I want to go into how, what it, when they're talking about a stable coin, this is how Esau does, man. They say one thing, but it's got layered meanings to it. It's got layered meanings to it. And so when you saw this crypto bill being passed and during Trump's speech, basically he talks about just removing corruption, allowing the market to flourish with crypto, being innovative, and just basically trying to tell the audience that this is such a good thing. And they're saying, oh, we're not going to allow CBDCs because a central bank digital currency is going to immediately get pushback from certain aspects of the public, a large aspect of the alternative media. They said we're going to ban CBDCs, but what we're going to do is we're going to do a stable coin. And what I try to explain is that there is no difference. And I'm going to go through that, with Grok to explain that. I might pull up a video to kind of, explain it a little more, just to show you that all of this, whether it's a CBDC or whether it's a stable coin, it's really the same thing because it's coming from the elite, the government. And it's all programmable. They can program it to do whatever it wants, and they can create new programs and upgrades even after the stable coin is launched. They can update what's called oracles that basically control everything on the chain. Okay, so I want to talk about that a little bit so bros can get some understanding. Elder Yashawamba is going to join me and bring out some points. Highlight Shalom, Zakwan, Yahweh Shem Shabbat.
Shalom, Yahweh Shem Shabbat.
Yeah. And basically I just already opened up and I want to go over this crypto bill that just passed and just talk about how deceptive Esau is with his words, the way he comes and does things. He's very slick, especially the way Trump moves. Trump knows how to talk like a layperson, and it makes him sound more genuine and authentic. Okay, to where you were like, man, this dude's cool, man. If you're simple. But I want to read this real quick. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11. It says, "Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices." We're not ignorant of how the spiritual demon Satan uses Esau to lie, to propagate wicked agendas. And ultimately, the end goal is the mark of the beast, the M.O.T.B.
Right.
That's what the end goal is. So as you see these advancements in AI, as they're getting closer and closer towards general artificial intelligence, and eventually what they want to get to is super artificial intelligence, as they promote more and more that, you know, the internet is risky, cyber attacks, we're going to have to switch up the way that we do the internet. Okay, they're going to push more and more natural disasters around the world to destroy infrastructure so they can do more and more, you know, digitizing.
Yep. Government
So,
spending.
mm-hmm.
You saw a big thing with that when Trump first got in. You know, they were talking about we need to digitize it, do away with checks, you know, so that we can have more transparency on where our money is going.
Yep. Yep. And this is why they've already gotten rid of minting pennies. And that's always a sign that they're getting ready to, you know, completely switch things out, you know. So all of these things lead to the path of the M.O.T.B. and simultaneously, that's why we also have the World War III algorithms. Because both of these things are hand in hand. You're going to see these two aspects of end time prophecy. Basically, they're going to hit together, man. You know,
Yep.
they're going to hit together, man. Using my the incense holder that the brother from Houston made for us, man. Shout out to the Houston camp, the water.
That wine bottle one.
So brother,
Yeah, yeah.
he made some
Jake, creative as hell.
great creative, man. These wine bottles to use, but yeah, we're gonna touch on these things. Did you have any other points of scriptures that you want to open up with?
Nah.
All right, so with like my man MTR, without further ado, I'm gonna play this.
For the roughly $250 billion cryptocurrency market known as Stablecoin has become law. President Trump signed the so-called Genius Act at the White House today and gave remarks.
I had no problem with my internet. Zero. Now it wants to act crazy.
And with today's signing.
Oh, just 1 second. I'm gonna reload this page. I don't know. I had no problems, and now it wants to act crazy. Turn my camera off. See if that helps. All right. You can hear me good though, right?
Yeah, I can hear you. You know, every time we try to do this, that's what it does. So I can hop out.
Yeah, it'd be all right. Yeah, because I'm just gonna play a little bit of this. The rest is just gonna be going through scriptures and some stuff that I pulled up on Grok that I got.
Regulatory framework for the roughly $250 billion cryptocurrency market known as Stablecoin has become law. President Trump signed the so-called Genius Act at the White House today and gave remarks.
And with today's signing, we're pushing even further into the exciting new frontier. Just as I promised last year, the Genius Act creates a clear and simple regulatory framework to establish and unleash the immense promise of dollar-backed stable coins. This could be perhaps the greatest revolution in financial technology since the birth of the internet itself.
Bo Hines joins us now from the White House. He is the executive director of the President's Council of Advisors on Digital Assets, more commonly known as the Crypto Council. Bo, I know this is a huge day for you, so thanks so much for spending a little bit of it with us.
You know what's crazy is that whenever this stuff started happening, we were doing these lessons about this and basically forecasting what we see here now. And people thought we were absolutely ludicrous. We were conspiracy theorists. We were kooky for telling you that the book of Revelation, the 13th chapter and 14th chapter, when it talks about the mark of the beast, that these elements that Esau's pushing out here ties into how they're going to cause all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark. and that you would not be able to buy or sell unless you had this mark. These legislative pushes that you see are huge with fulfilling this prophecy, and they're moving at lightning speed. Okay, when Bitcoin really hit the scene in what, 09, and no one even really understood until it went through its first bull cycle, people just was like, oh, you know, that's just gonna be like the tulip, you know, the tulip movement. You know, it's gonna be, something, a fly by night thing. We're like, no, man, this thing is gonna allow for the digitization of currency. Now they're talking about that you're gonna have a dollar-backed stable coin. Well, basically, it's just the dollar. It's just the currency. And people are going to see it as the same thing. They're not going to look at it like, oh, dollar back. They're just going to use it as it is. This is how they get you. This is how they get you. They real slick with it.
Crafty.
Okay? Real crafty, man. You know? Psalm 10:7, his mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. Constantly, man, they utilize legislation and bills, and this and that, to push their agenda. And what the end game, the end goal is what? The M.O.T.B.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That Hebrew word in Genesis where it says the serpent was more subtle than any of the beasts of the field. That word is irawam, which that has both a positive and a negative, connotation, but it means subtle, shrewd, crafty, sensible, prudent. So he's prudent on the left-hand side. He's drawing everybody into this system, phones, technology, dependency on, electronics and all of these various things as a form of buying and selling. It was a very prudent plan, it was a very cunning, subtle way that he's brought you into the system, even going in what you're going into now, just seeing how this is that serpent from the garden ruling now, ruling the whole world,
Facts. Okay.
No, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
So can you just explain what this law does in practice, especially when it comes to offering more protections for consumers who either invest in crypto or want to, but they're not sure?
Sure, yeah. So this is landmark legislation that overhauls the entire financial system. It creates new payment rails. For U.S. consumers, these rails will be much more transparent, more efficient, more cost-effective. So a stable coin is literally a digital dollar that's backed by a real dollar in a bank account somewhere else. And so what we have here is, we're pushing U.S. dollars globally. It gives others in different parts of the world the opportunity to have dollar-backed stable coins in the account. It keeps their money secure and safe. For these stablecoin issuers now, they have to be one-to-one backed. They have to prove they're one-to-one backed in an audit. So we have now full transparency of what they're doing. We're onshoring a lot of the folks that were engaged in this space in the beginning. But, I can't overstate how big of a deal this is. This lays the groundwork for tokenization of.
You have tons of stable coins that are already out, decentralized stable coins. Coinbase has its own stable coin called USDC. Okay, you have USDT, all right, which is the Tether Corporation. You have what's called Ethereum DAI, which is a very popular decentralized stable coin. And these stable coins are backed by dollars. Some can be backed by dollars. Some are backed by other cryptocurrencies, and some are just backed by just leverage. It was just insane. Okay, just pure loans and bullshit. So but then you have, I believe USDT is backed by different treasury bonds, dollars, different basket of like Ethereum, Bitcoin, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you have something like Ethereum DAI, which is completely backed by all types of different cryptocurrencies. That way, because as you're trading these things, you don't want for it to be worth $1 in one place, but then you have it worth, 98 cents somewhere else. Because then you can get something that's called arbitrage. Where it's like, okay, well then I'm gonna buy the 98-cent one over here in this exchange, and then I'm gonna come sell it for $1 over here at this exchange, and then I can get, I can get that flip.
Right.
You see? So I'll just buy $10 million worth of 98-cent stablecoin over here and then sell it over here, and then I'll just make that profit. So why it's backed by these currencies is to do what it's called is keep it stable, right there pegged at $1. Okay? And so what they're doing is they're going to take over the game at the exchange level, meaning how you enter and exit the market, meaning you cannot enter and get into the game until we got all your information, got all your specs. They're gonna say, oh, we're regulating the space. We're gonna make the space more safe so you don't get scammed, because you don't want to be scammed, right? Well, we're here to protect you. We're gonna regulate these markets, so it's gonna make it less volatile and safer for you. Well, meanwhile, it's a complete takeover. It's a complete takeover of the cryptocurrency market. And this is how they do it, okay? They come crafty like that, all right?
Public securities. I mean, it revolutionizes our financial system.
And Bill, obviously, with all things that have to do with new technology like this, it is a race, a competition. Does the Genius Act do anything to make sure that U.S. stablecoin issuers are going to be the gold standard and that world leaders recognize this in some way?
Well, even the stablecoin issuers that are offshore now fall under this regulatory regime, which is why this is so huge. Look, the most sought after thing in the world is the U.S. dollar. They're injecting that into foreign economies, and this secures U.S. dollar global dominance for decades to come. One of the stablecoin issuers that's offshore is going to be the fourth largest purchaser of U.S. treasuries, including all countries this year. I mean, that's a remarkable statistic. So now we're not relying on foreign actors any longer. Just buying U.S. debt. You're going to have private enterprise doing the same thing. But who stands to benefit from this is the American people, the American consumer. This technology is revolutionizing the financial system in really tremendous ways. And a lot of what's happening in the crypto space is propelling that forward. So, this is an industry that has been broadly beaten down and kicked down over the course of the last decade. They were victims of policymaking through prosecution and persecution. And now we have a president that recognizes their legitimacy. He stepped up in a huge way to lead the charge on this. And also, I'd be remiss not to thank our brilliant AI and crypto czar, David Sachs. He's done a phenomenal job. He's been the guiding star. This is just fantastic bipartisan.
And this is how they do it, man. They're merging the private and the public sector. This is why they're going the stablecoin route, because it allows corporations to join in. When you listen to the speech that Trump gave, he spent 15 minutes shouting out all these different government and corporate elites.
Yeah.
Okay. From the Coinbase people, I believe he shouted out the people from Robinhood, the people from Tether, all of these different corporate entities are going to govern your world. That's called fascism. When you merge the corporate entities with the government, and they're governing and regulating your life and how you move. You see?
And you didn't even elect them. You don't know who they are. They just pop up.
Exactly. But how they did the trick, the one thing that I noticed, and I tried to find it in this clip, but I couldn't find it, was they talked about, we're not going to do any CBDCs. We're going to pass a bill. They're not going to do a CBDC. And everybody, yay,
Mm-hmm.
and everything like that. Well, they got you, man.
Years after I really met you for the first time. The Genius Act provides banks, businesses, and financial institutions a framework for issuing crypto assets backed one for one with real U.S. dollars, treasury bills, and other cash equivalents. Is really strengthening the dollar and giving the dollar great prominence. And,
how is it strengthening the dollar? It's making it more liquid, all right? You want your currency to be liquid, meaning you can use it anywhere. All right, so that's why they're saying it's strengthening to the dollar. It's because it's making it to be used. Now it's being able to be used one for one in the cryptocurrency space. I wanted to go to this, and I typed in, "Hey Grok, can you describe the difference between a CBDC and a stable coin as if I was a fifth grader?" All right. It says this. Let's break it down super simple. CBDC, central bank digital currency. Think of this like digital dollar bills made by the government's bank, like the people who print real money. It's super official because the government controls it, so it's as trustworthy as the cash in your piggy bank. For example, if the U.S. made a digital dollar, it would be a CBDC, and it's worth exactly $1, just like a paper dollar. The government decides how it's used, like making sure it's safe and follows rules, right? So they're saying, "Oh, we don't want a CBDC. We want a stable coin." Okay, so what's a stable coin? It says this is like digital money made by a company, not the government. It's like a toy company making their own pretend money for their games, right? It says it's called stable because it's tied to something real, like a dollar. So it doesn't change value a lot. For example, a stable coin might be worth $1. But since a company, not the government, makes it, you have to trust that company to keep their promise that it's worth $1. Example coins are like USDC or Tether, which you might use to buy stuff online in some apps. Big difference, okay? A CBDC is like money from your parents. It's super official and safe because it's from the government, right? A stablecoin is like money from a toy store. It's still useful, but you have to trust the store to make it work right. Both are digital, but one's from the government, the other's from a company. But y'all see the government talking about a stablecoin, right?
Right.
Showing you this is actually a CBDC that they're pushing here. You see how Grok just explained that a CBDC is from the government? Well, who's pushing this damn stablecoin? The government. So what is it really? It's a CBDC. But we're going to ban CBDCs. You can trust us. Trump, 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 Trump. Okay? I said this. I said, if the government is making the stable coin, would that make it like a CBDC? Great question. If the government is making a stable coin, it would actually be a CBDC, not a stable coin. See? Let me explain this like a fifth grader. A stablecoin is digital money made by a company that tries to keep its value steady, like always being worth $1. Boom, we talked about that. He just talks about CBDC is digital money made by the government's bank. It's super official. If the government makes a digital coin, it's automatically a CBDC because it's coming from the government, not a company. It wouldn't be called a stable coin even if it's designed to stay worth $1, because stable coins are specifically made by private companies, not government. So a government-made coin is always a CBDC. It's like the government's own digital dollar. You see how they play games? You see how they play games, bro?
Yep.
So this is right there on the path of the M.O.T.B. They're going to digitize the dollar, and then they're going to have to regulate and control how this dollar is transmitted. First, they'll let it go and be buck wild out there in the world, in the digital world, and then there'll be a crash or a hack or something that they'll need to do to have even more regulation and safety, because the government wants to keep you safe, right?
Yep.
They want to keep you safe.
I got a precept for you.
What you got, champ?
Proverbs 26 and 23. I'm gonna read it in the NLT.
Okay.
Just let me know when you're ready.
Proverbs 26 and 23.
Yeah, I'm gonna read it in the. I'm gonna read down, but I'm gonna read it in the NLT. All right.
Okay.
Proverbs 26:23. Smooth words may hide a wicked heart, just as pretty glaze covers a clay pot. People may cover their hatred with pleasant words, but they're deceiving you. They pretend to be kind, but don't believe them. Their hearts are full of many evils. While they hide their hatred and conceal it by trickery, their wrongdoing will be exposed in public. If you set traps for others, you will get caught in it yourself. If you roll a boulder down on others, it will crush you instead. A lying tongue hates its victims, and flattering words cause ruin.
Boom. And we just see them, we just caught them up in a lie by a simple Grok search and and understanding a CBDC and a stable coin. But they use lying words, they use flattering speeches to get people to think that they're for your benefit. But this is nothing but a snake oil salesman. And he lies with such ease. It just rolls right out of his damn mouth.
Serpent.
To try to make you think that it's all good. What you about to say? I
said that's the serpent.
He is, man. They are. You know? Psalms 58:3. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. Their poison is like the poison of a serpent. They are like the deaf adder that stoppeth her ear. See? This is what the Most High set these Edomites up for. To produce wickedness and deceit and cunning craftiness, man. And this is going to just be great for the dollar. It's going to strengthen the dollar. Meanwhile, it's nothing but a trap. Now, I'm going to get into more of how this is a trap by talking about the workings of CBDC or a stable coin. Okay? Now, I put a question in. I said, oracles control stable coins, right? Then it says, not quite. Let's break it down super simply, right? Oracles don't control stable coins, but they can help them work. Okay? It says a stable coin is digital money made by a company designed to stay worth something, blah, blah, blah. We just talked about that. An oracle is like a helper that gives information to the stable coin system. It's like a weather app telling you if it's raining outside. It just provides facts like the price of a dollar or of the data. Some stable coins use oracles to check things like the value of a dollar or other stuff to make sure the stable coin stays stable. But the oracle doesn't control the stable coin. It's just passing along info. The company that makes the stable coin, like Circle for USDC, is the one really in charge. They decide how it works and make sure it's backed by real money or assets. So oracles are like messengers giving updates, but they don't control stable coins, okay? So, I dug a little bit deeper. I said, okay, but you can program certain rules within the oracle to operate tasks on the chain. You're getting onto some cool tech stuff. It says, an oracle is like a robot librarian who grabs real world info like prices of weather and shares it with a blockchain. Okay? You can program rules into an oracle to help it do tasks automatically on the blockchain. Okay? And this is what they're going to do in order to check for things. We talk about how they want to do the climate control and they do the measurements for CO2 emissions, right? Mm-hmm. You can program an oracle to check to see if a company's CO2 emissions are at a certain level, and if it's not, then you can stop them being able to receive or send their money. You can put these oracles to be guiders and check on how the money is actually working on the chain, to be kind of police. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So this is how they're going to be able to regulate the stablecoin / CBDC, because it's really a CBDC, on the chain in real time. Okay. These things they can update it how they want, change it how they want. Okay. And make it be the way they want it to be. It says what oracles do. Oracles connect the blockchain to the outside world. For example, if a stablecoin needs to know the price of $1 to stay stable, the oracle fetches that info and tells the blockchain. Programming rules. You can give an oracle instructions like a recipe. See?
Now, real quick, would that blockchain be, give it more transparency to where everything you're doing is able to be seen more so by the public? Is that?
No.
How would you? Okay.
So the stablecoin is going to be on the blockchain, so you'll be able to see the transactions on the chain.
Okay.
All right. So you send money to this wallet. It's going to all be by wallet. So you're not going to know whose wallet that is, but the government is.
That's what I'm saying. They'll be able to see it.
Yes, because the only way you'll be able to have access in and out on that wallet is you're going to have to do something called KYC. Which means know your customer.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll have to take a picture, send your info, and be registered, and they'll connect that information to that wallet, or multiple wallets. You may have multiple wallets, but if you're an outside person just kind of looking on what's called the blockchain explorer, and you're just looking at transactions, you don't know. Because the wallet is just going to be some numbers and some letters. So it'll be 00x85z 5553 pound, this and that C. And you'll see that, $20 million moved from that wallet to this other wallet. But you don't know who that is, but the government knows who the hell that is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But the oracle can create restrictions on wallets, on where that stablecoin can and cannot go, according to whatever rules they program the oracle to look for. You see? So does that make sense?
Kind
of. Right? So it says, so you have the stablecoin itself, then you have programming that makes the systems work. That's happening in the background that nobody really sees or really even understands. That the government controls. Okay? That's why they don't like the idea of cash. Because with cash, you can really kind of be anonymous. You can take some cash and go do whatever. I mean, we just know the cash got exchanged over here. We don't know who, But with this, there's no more true anonymity. It feels like you're being anonymous, but everything is completely seen and controlled. 1000%. See? Okay, so going back to this conversation, it says programming rules. You can give an oracle instructions like a recipe to do specific things when certain conditions are met. And you can imagine all the different types of certain conditions, bro. We talk about it all the time. Oh man, you've been being for hate speech. Wallet shut down. Or your CO2 emissions, your cows are farting too much. You're cut off. See? So it says, for example, you could program it to say if the price of a dollar changes, tell the stablecoin system to adjust something. These instructions are often part of smart contracts, like tiny computer programs on the blockchain. Task on the chain. The oracle itself doesn't do the task. It just provides the info. The smart contract uses that info to trigger actions like moving money, updating the stablecoin's value, or even sending a message. For example, if the Oracle says the dollar's worth $1, the smart contract might use that to keep the stablecoin's value steady. Who's in charge? The company, i.e. the government, behind the stablecoin sets up the rules and decides how the Oracle's info is used. The Oracle is just the helper delivering the facts, not the boss making decisions. So you can program rules to make Oracles help with tasks on the blockchain, like keeping a stablecoin's value steady, blah, 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 blah. But you see, this is how they are going to use this CBDC that they're trying to call a stablecoin to get people to back off.
Mm-hmm.
Control your world, to control how you buy and sell.
Wow.
Okay? They just try to use trickery to throw everybody off, bro. But this is how Esau does. This is how the Satan moves, man. They think deep. They think deep. Okay? Let's see. Oh, I want this in NLT. Boom. Micah 2:1. Woe unto them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hands. Okay? And so they've been putting this stuff together for a minute, bro. They've been putting this stuff together for a while. It just takes time for them to just slowly and gradually put it into action. Right? Like the scriptures say, their heart is deep, man. Was that Psalm 64 or something like that?
Yep, Psalm 64. Yep.
You know, their heart is deep, bro. And now that they got Trump in office, they're able to, because they've gotten so much sentiment from the people, because really so-called white people, they're just worried about making America white again. And Trump is at the forefront of that. So whatever he says, they'll just flow with it. Okay? That's why you're not seeing pushback. Alex Jones or all these people that used to be so-called anti-New World Order. They're all about this shit.
Anti-globalist. Like if the Biden administration did this, the right would be losing their mind. There would be all kind of videos. But since Trump is doing it, it's sort of like it's a win. It's a victory. We'll see.
Exactly. And so they're able to move much faster and just push stuff through Congress in 3 days. When have you ever seen that shit? In 3 days, they went to the Congress, it went to the House, the Senate, got passed, he signed it, everybody clapping.
Yep. Amidst all of the Epstein, drama, which you'll never get the real list. You'll never know, what was really going on. We know what was going on, but you'll never get it. They give you that controversy, and at the same time they're passing legislation like this because ultimately they're working. They're bringing about. They got the infrastructure pretty much set up. They just need the necessary false flag events and certain legislation like this to go ahead and justify. Remember the wearables with RFK?
Yeah.
It's all going hand in hand. They're gradually moving you into that system. All right. Meanwhile, you got Israelites talking about, the movement is dead, it's stagnant. No, prophecy is movement, man. Moving. Okay, and this ain't a movement, man. This is a spiritual awakening through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. We winning, man, through the spirit. We're in the driver's seat, man. All of these prophecies coming to pass give us a sense of peace, comfort,
Exactly. All right, let me see. Let's see if I can pull this last clip up. Oops.
bill gets signed, the system is changed. Period.
Hi, Lynette. So great to see you again.
I am so happy to be here, Yankee. Thank you.
I am so tired of Edomites. Just the way they talk. Ugh. Well, whatever. Here you go.
For having me.
Let's talk about central bank digital currencies. CBDCs were the focus of my most watched YouTube video. You were my guest on it 2 years ago. So,
Oh, God. I don't think I can handle how he's talking.
well, thank you. But since we did that video, the tide of popular opinion turned hard against CBDCs. Donald Trump, popular and prominent politicians, all openly opposed it. Multiple states, I think it's 11 states legislated against CBDCs. They were called a threat to freedom, a threat to privacy, a threat to the foundational values of America. And rightly so, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Here's the thing, Lynette. The United States no longer needs a CBDC. It already has it. And it's about to be signed into law by the president, possibly today, and it's stablecoins. And the bill is the Genius Act, guiding and establishing national innovation for U.S. stablecoins. And it is the first standalone crypto measure signed into law. I think stablecoins are literally the Trojan horse for a centralized, federally controlled digital currency that has all the trappings of a CBDC. What do you think?
I could not agree with you more. Adding also the fact that who issues stable coins and why would stable coins be supported by this administration? But you're right. I mean, CBDCs were vilified, but this is a very easy way to make that happen without people realizing it. It also transfers the creation of money from banking corporations to any corporations. Everybody, Amazon wants to develop its own stable coin, and Walmart wants to develop its own stable coin. And what those stable coin legislation is about is creating a new artificial market for treasuries and dollars, because the market that we had up until 2008, which were really other governments and banks, right? And of course, they're changing the rules to inspire banks to hold more of the government's debt now. But that system has been already turned over to traders.
So the two biggest ones, Tether, right? That's the issuer of the stablecoin USDT, and Circle Internet Group. They just IPO'd really big. And they're the issuer of the stablecoin USDC. They're 1 and 2 in terms of market cap, respectively. But U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said the U.S. would use stablecoins to ensure a U.S. dollar hegemony in payments and protect its role as the global reserve currency. And that drives up the demand for the dollar and debt instruments. That's what the Fed loves, right?
That's the whole goal. But let's look at this, because yes, you're absolutely right. This is about creating the artificial demand that has been going away for those more stable sort of holders. But they're still backed 1-to-1 by, what is that? Dollars. And so their value is based on this. And the difference between the paper dollar, where you have a 0.00, and the stable coin with a point unlimited, is that they can steal from you and you won't even be able to see it through the normal inflation channels. So when the promise is there will be no inflation, heck no, they're going to be attacking your principal.
Yeah, stablecoin issuers are the 18th largest buyer of U.S. debt in the world. They have over $120 billion worth of the stuff. Lynette, they're doing exactly what a Federal Reserve CBDC would have done. They are globally adopted. They are instant, borderless, and dollar pegged. Markets can use them, exchanges and payment apps integrate with them. And most of all, people trust them, Lynette. There's no public backlash. Ian Rachis, the co-founder of SmartDex, put it, why bother creating a CBDC?
Yeah, because you've got it already. Yeah, I could not agree with you more. Bitcoin wasn't.
This is how they do it, bro. And so now, watch how quickly this just becomes ubiquitous, meaning it's all over the place. You know, because they already had these systems set. It was all a part of the plan. All these different governments are in on it. They're all in on it. Okay. And so this is how they're going to just spread the abatya. They're just going to spread the debt in another channel all across the world, man. Okay. And it's just, like I said, it's another step towards just digitizing everything. And now you have it programmatically being programmed on the chain versus using laws and regulations through your banking systems and stuff like that. Now you can just program it on chain and regulate it that way. Like how the bank can freeze your account, or how the IRS or somebody can just go and, you know, swipe your money out your account through a bank. Well, now they'll be able to do it through these digital wallets and stuff like that, man.
God damn.
Wake up and your shit white because you broke some rule that you didn't even know you broke. You saw how they did Kanye, or you know, how with the whole trucking thing.
Canada.
Yeah, in Canada. You remember that?
Yep.
Now they have even more power to do this type of stuff, bro. Okay. So did you have anything else? That's all. I don't want to play the whole thing. I want to go watch it, bros. Can go watch it. But I just wanted to break that down about this thing with stable coins. This ain't nothing but a CBDC wrapped up into in you know, in something that's supposed to be good and nice, and putting some lipstick on it.
Dressing it up real good, yeah.
And just dressing it up, bro. So we here, bro. We are here. You know. But that's all I got, man. You have any closing statements or comments?
Nah, that's all. That's it. Sure. I learned more than anything. Sure.
Shoot, man. Hey, call hello, y'all about Shimmy Sarah. You know what I'm saying? You know, yeah, like I was about to say, with that being said, man, we're gonna say call hello, Yahweh by Shimmy Shah by Shimrakar Kudash. Once in double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone. Much peace, love, and salutations to Yakiam out there pushing the word of Yahweh by Shimmy Shah, sincerely and true. Shalom.
Shalom.